Hey Reefers, back again with another quick update. They're never quick. I don't know why I always say that. I would like to point out that my nitrates are still high. I do have let's go down there. I do have bio pellets running. They do take a while to work, so it's been kind of a struggle watching things get a little bit worse before they get better. But hopefully with the bio pellets, they're gonna take care of those nitrates soon. I just did a 22-gallon water change, and I'm hoping here within the next month or so the nitrates really get reduced. I just tested yesterday and my phosphates were really low, but my nitrates were still at the I don't remember exactly what the Red Sea nitrate phosphate testing is, but nitrates were at the highest point, and phosphates, I think they were not at the lowest, but like 2 notches up. Still like 0.00 or 0.02, something like that. So right where phosphates should be, nitrates way higher than they should be. Okay, so there's some bad stuff. Let's look at some good stuff. The red planet here is doing really well. It's about to grow off onto the rock. Pavona keeps growing, looking good. Red brick cyphastria still growing off further onto the rock. There it goes. Okay, my piece of wood to hold up the hood. That's the Jason Fox. Why do I always forget the names of them right when I'm looking at them? The jack-o'-lantern Leptoceras. I know the name of it. Why can't I just say it? There we go. I did it though. Oh, what's this guy? A Vortec MP10. I picked up 2 of them from a local reefer. So I got rid of the Jabo SOW8. Right now it's just downstairs. I used it partially to help mix up water, just to get the salt mixed up a little better. If I have, oh, there goes a little Astorina right there. If I have my Jabo PP15 and the SOW8 kind of swirling the bottom of the tank, have one at the furthest back on that end, and then one closer on this end, it just kind of keeps the salt rotating a little bit better. So I haven't sold it yet. I will probably look into that soon, as I don't need that. And I'm going to sell the other MP10 since I just don't need it on this tank. Basically, everybody's growing. Everybody's doing all right. The Astorinas are slowly but surely being eaten by the Harlequin shrimp and my removal techniques. I have been taking quite a few out. I'd say at least 10 a day by hand, and probably twice a week now I've been taking them out through I do basically a water change where I just siphon into a bucket and I come down here and I just scrape them and, you know, swirl them up, and they get caught in the siphon and on the bucket. And when you pour the water back into the sump, you just pour it slowly, and they stay attached to the bucket because they don't want to come out, and they just want to be held onto something securely. So they basically stay in the bucket and in the siphon, and then you just get rid of them from there. All right, I was showing this coral. This is Mystery Toad I got from Top Shelf Aquatics. It just keeps, like everything else, coloring up more and more every day. Absolutely beautiful. Here in a little bit, I'm going to do some night shooting, just adjust the color of the lights, put on the filter so you guys can see what it looks like in the evening. Got some more Top Shelf Aquatics back there that keep looking good but not getting any bigger just yet. The orange, there we go, let's color it down, there we go. The orange kiwi lithophyllon, because it has kind of green edges on it. That just keeps looking better and better and growing every day. It looked good to start with, but yeah, doing really well now. I'd like to point out that this Walt Disney that I bought locally, when I bought it, it was completely green. Didn't look like a Walt Disney at all, and it started doing well under my old lights, but now under the Atlantics, all the polyps are yellow. There's a lot of pink, orange in the mix too. Basically, it took a while for the Atlantics, for the coral to get used to the Atlantics. Just the color spectrum, the intensity. Even though I had the 2 Orphic bars and a couple T5s, the Atlantic puts out so much more light, even though I tried adjusting from 80 to 100% so I could see the light difference, and you can barely tell a difference, but you know that there's just so much more intensity, and especially with the whites. Once you have the whites at like 5%, it doesn't look like, it looks completely different than when you have the blues and the purple, the UV, the red, at any level. The whites kind of overshadow everything. This guy back here is finally starting to get some color again at the base. It basically got burnt when I put on the Atlantic Compact. Since it's all the way on that side. Back when it was just the Atlantic in the middle. Ooh, I forgot that glue was up there. It just wasn't getting as intense light, and with the Atlantic Compact right over it, it was getting far more light, and it's finally adjusting to the to how much light it's getting. GSP seems to be growing pretty well now. Basically everything's growing now, which is kind of a problem with this frog spawn. I just sold 7 frags, and it looks like I'm going to have to cut it again before too long. Otherwise it's going to start rubbing up against the Aquaman. Alright, so what else do I want to tell you? I have, I recently, in the scrubber down here, as you can see, there's a ton of bubbles coming out. I recently ported out the holes that are in there for it. They were kind of just small slits, barely letting air out. Hopefully that'll help increase with the algae production. Because it's always just done okay. I do have I have a 302 aquatics scrubber down in the basement, but there is no room in here for it. Part of it is because of the plumbing job I did. This is my second time doing hard plumbing, and it was kind of a retrofit instead of starting fresh, since I had basically a day to do it. This is a tiny house, and I couldn't have 2 large tanks in the way. Basically everything's doing great in here. I'm gonna put in some nighttime coloration shots, and I'll see you on the next video. Remember to keep those nitrates low, reefers. Peace.